Hey there, Jay Eaker here at the BioSoul Integration Center in Louisville, Colorado, and today I want to talk about pain, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, spiritual pain, physical stuff that happens to us, whether it's a broken leg, whether it's back pain, to psychological, the ways that we make problems out of circumstances and situations in our lives, and what is the fundamental source of that pain, and then consequently, what can we, gives us a whole new perspective and a whole new options for what we can do with pain if we know the fundamental source, which I would say is bound up life force energy. Bound up life force energy is the fundamental source of pain. And I'm going to be talking about that in this video. But before we get started, if you could like, share, pass this along, subscribe to my channel. That'll help people get this information who need it. So, how most people view pain as something that is a problem, something that gets in their way, it's something that's out of their control, something that it's bad luck. It's bad luck that this happened to them and they have no control over it. But many spiritual people, spiritual teachers and whatnot, say things that imply otherwise. Donald Epstein, the guy who created Network Spinal Analysis, and just a technique for embodied, for embodying your soul's gifts in your body and then expressing them on the planet. He said that if you're not living your purpose on the planet, it's going to hurt, and nothing is supposed to take that pain away. Rumi, he's an oft-quoted spiritual guy, especially in Boulder here. He says, what is the thing? He says something about how the wound is the crack or whatever that lets the light in, right? So all of those, they kind of imply that there's some bigger purpose to pain. There's some bigger role that pain plays in our lives. And if you understand that pain is life force energy, bound up life force energy, you can start to sort of make sense of that. So I'm going to attempt to help you make sense of that. So first of all, what is life force energy? Well, you may say, I don't know what life force energy. Well, you've probably experienced it. It's that buzz that happens after a good workout, or after making love, or after you've experienced some thrilling something or other, like a roller coaster ride or something. There's that buzz that we feel. That's life force energy. That's prana. That's chi. Goes by a few different names, but life force energy sort of contains the information that animates us to life. It supplies the information that creates and sustains our physical body, our cells, our systems, our organs. It creates and sustains it's the information that creates and sustains gives life to our emotions, to our mental capacity, and sort of gives us an uplink to our spiritual essence, our soul, if you will. It's the sort of force. It's a force of creation. It's a force of potential energy. It's a force that sort of drives change and evolution sort of throughout the universe. It's the force that, makes things move and evolve in the universe. It's the force that makes things move and evolve on on the planets, all the planets, and especially on this planet, that brings life forth from this planet and that comes through you as well. It's the creative force, the force of change and evolution and growth that comes, that bursts forth through you. It's a kind of living, flowing intelligence or wisdom. And our nervous system is a sort of receiver and a sort of step down transformer, if you will. It takes the universal energy, from the universe, then from the planet, and then it sort of steps it down so that we can integrate that information into our bodies and lives. And our nervous system is sort of the receiver and the sort of filter or step down transformer for that more universal energy, to turn it into life force energy. And ideally it's supposed to flow, it's supposed to circulate, just like it does. The natural state of it is to flow and circulate in the universe, on the planet, through our bodies. And so if it's able to circulate and flow, then we're healthy on a whole number of levels. Physically speaking, our organs are working like they're supposed to, chugging along, and our thoughts and emotions are healthy and generally positive. Not that sadness or grief or things like that are bad, but generally we'd be and we'd be more connected to our spiritual essence. We'd have a greater connection to who we are really and what we're doing here, and the gifts that we bring, and the gifts that we bring to the whole thing. If that energy is not able to flow, if it's not able to circulate, then it can create problems on a whole number of levels. It can create problems on a physical level where there's tension, our posture changes, organ systems aren't working like they're supposed to. We tend to put a limit on the range and depth of emotion that we can give ourselves permission to feel. We're not as connected to who we really are. We're not as connected to who we are and why we're here. The gifts, particular gifts that we have to give. Like we put a limit on the range of emotion. If you put a limit on the range of, say, things like grief and anger and fear, emotions exist on a continuum, and it's sort of like if you pinch off those emotions, it pinches off the whole emotional field. And so we're limited on in the range of things like awe and joy and gratitude and love. And if you're limited in those emotions, naturally it's gonna affect the stories that you tell yourself about, and the things that you believe about who you are and why you're here, and what is the truth, the spiritual truth about those things. So that's how bound up life force energy sort of affects the whole thing, and it can create pain, problems on a whole number of levels. And if we can sort of unravel these sort of boulders, these bound up chunks of life force energy, these places where the life force energy gets bound up in us, it kind of pulls the rug out from underneath the whole thing. And so there's kind of a weird twist to the whole thing. Most even alternative healthcare methods are in some way still coming from an allopathic angle. The allopathic medicine says basically there's something wrong with you, something wrong with us that needs to get fixed. And even alternative healthcare models and methods would like to say that they're alternative to that they're natural. But on some level, often they sort of co-opt the same model. They just put a different words to it. Whether it's chakras that are blocked, or or energy that needs to get cleared, or meridians that are stuck, or bones that are spinal bones that are out of place and need to be adjusted back into place. On some level, still sort of applying that same something's broke, needs to be fixed model to even alternative healthcare. So I'm not saying that the boulders and the bound up energy that results in pain, that is the source of pain on all levels in our bodies and beings, I'm not saying that is the problem that needs to somehow be fixed. I'm saying the truth is is that bound up energy contains wisdom and intelligence, and in fact it happens to sort of contain the information that is needed to sort of solve the problem, to sort of resolve the pain that we have. This is my experience in working with people and helping people heal. The word heal comes from an Old English word which means to make whole. So it's not about necessarily clearing things. That's kind of the New Age world kind of has a monopoly on clearing energy, and that's one level of strategy, is to clear energies, to free up energy. But another level is to sort of transcend and include, to sort of integrate this bound up energy, to make it a part of us, to let it inform us. And so on one level, if you believe that to be true, then that kind of that says something about the hurts and traumas and accidents that we've encountered along the way that have formed this bound up energy in us. It kind of says that, it kind of implies that those things aren't an accident either. That they were by design somehow. And certainly some people have encountered horrendous stuff. But I think it means that to the degree that we're able to sort of transcend and include the bound up energy in our system, that as a result of that hard stuff, to the extent that we're able to do that is to the extent that we're able to create positive change in the lives of others, to give our gifts in the world. The harder the thing that you've encountered, the greater potential you have for doing something amazing in the world, if you can transcend and include that. And I think that bears out. I think that some of the people who have made the biggest positive change in the world are people who have experienced really hard stuff. And so the energy that's bound up in our system is potential energy. It's energy that's poised to do work and poised to do something positive if we can transcend it and include it. And I think, again, that just sort of says that life and our bodies are not here, they're not here to screw with us. The pain that you might be encountering, the uncomfortable stuff that you have encountered, that you might be encountering now, it's not all for naught. That it is life sort of like squeezing us, life sort of turning us into something else. And we're sort of extract to the extent that we can bring our attention and sort of hold that bigger picture and be present with that bigger picture, we get to sort of extract the wisdom from the pain, and that gets to sort of like be applied to our life, expressed in our lives, and ultimately I think it is expressed, it turns into it compels us to sort of give our gifts and to sort of connect with our soul's essence and sort of connect with our gifts and give those gifts here on the planet. So the source of pain is bound up life force energy. So if you found this useful, if you found it interesting, please like it, share it, pass it along to those who might be interested, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great day.